Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the highly controversial, I guess, Sean Show. I'm your host, Sean. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does a lot here for the channel, gets the word out. There's different notifications and stuff, that notification bell button that you can hit, as well as if you're listening on podcast, make sure you subscribe to the Sean Show. Last week's show was a doozy. Um, actually wasn't last week's show, it was a week before last, because last week I taped a show with full transparency and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I said I'm not gonna put it out because I was tired that day. And we were supposed to have my guest here uh come on that show, but he had some things he had to do, which is fine. So I just kind of said, I'm set up, I'll do it. But ultimately I didn't like it. But the last show was crazy. But before I get into speaking about last week's episode of or whatever week that was, I'm going to introduce to you the webmaster, Wade Needham. How you doing, Wade?
What up? How's it going, man?
Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me
Um,
again.
hey, you always have a open chair, open mic, open forum here at the Sean Show. So,
Home away from
um,
home.
yeah, man. So I appreciate you coming back, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, but before we get into this week's topic, as you guys see, we're going to be talking all things WWE. I wanted to talk about last week's episode. I keep saying last week, so I'm just going to say it because I'm not going to keep correcting myself in the actual time of it. But last week's episode, man, it was crazy. It was crazy just based off of the fact that I know whenever I put AEW stuff out, that is negative, there's going to be a negative response.
Oh yeah.
And it was definitely a negative response from the standpoint of me having the biggest thumbs down that I've ever received as long as I've done this, which is fine. Um,
As the kids on Twitter would call it, you got ratioed.
right, which is fine. I'm gonna make sure I turn my phone off here, which
Yeah.
is fine. I mean, I'm not tripping about it. But the comments, uh hold on one
You know,
second.
I was always taught in my management classes, and I'm pretty sure you have as well, that
Mhm.
the only time to worry when you have a product is when you don't hear anything at all. So the fact that you're hearing stuff from people is a great sign.
Right. It's a great sign, but then also too, it just was so much craziness. I'm actually taking a picture live on show because I'm telling somebody that I'm taping, and
Selfie time.
I'm one of those people that say I'm taping and then I actually show you that I'm taping. That's the
I
type of
don't want
person I am.
I don't want you to feel out of you're the only one, so I'm gonna do it too. This would be actually be great for Instagram.
Yeah,
Ah,
that would.
forgot my timer was on, so I gotta wait 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, they gotta wait 10 seconds. Well, while you're taking that selfie, like I just took one. Um, yeah, I mean it's to be expected with AEW content. It was a lot of engagement. It was a lot of interesting conversation on that show. That I spoke about in terms of Tony Khan. And the thing is that everybody can have an opinion, but the Sean show, like I said, is based off of fact. I make sure I lay out the factual information and then I follow up with my opinion. That is the difference between this show and other shows. And that's just giving my opinion only. I'm giving you the reason why I feel this way. So, but it was, it's to be expected. So those that were, saying things or sticking up or whatever, I appreciate it. Those that were saying something negative, I appreciate it. Um, this is an open forum. So whoever wants to say whatever they want to say, respectfully, then I allow it. There's a lot of people that say a lot of negative stuff. Some of it was vulgar. I don't have any control over that because YouTube just immediately takes the comment down before I can
Really?
even respond to it. Yeah, like it says,
Wow.
if somebody curses in an F you or whatever, they take it down in the comments before I can even reply back to it. There was a guy that said something positive, but he was cursing up a storm in the comments, and then they took it down, so I couldn't even
Wow.
say anything back. So I leave everything up. So
Yeah.
if you want a great read of entertainment, then go ahead and look at that other show in the comment section because it's blown up. But I just wanted to lay that out there. I thank everybody for listening and watching, no matter what. So I appreciate that. So on today's episode, because we've covered AEW, I think the last time I had you on, we were talking about AEW versus WWE, who was winning right now. And I think I did a few other episodes on AEW as well too. So it's been AEW focused, AEW centric. We need to focus on the WWE
Yeah.
because there are a lot of things that they're doing that are good, and there's some things that they're doing that we don't like. So that's the reality of it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor. We're going to talk about the draft, but I want to first get your thoughts because we never really got into a deep conversation. I've seen you on some of your articles, which you can tell them where we can catch your articles at. I forgot where you're published at exactly. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Main website ringscoops.com, but I also contribute columns on nodq.com and pwmania.com.
Right. So he's everywhere on major websites with it. So I did see some of his comments about NXT and stuff like that, but we never actually had a conversation like this about it. So what are your thoughts so far on the NXT brand?
Uh, NXT 2.0. I love it. I love the new setup for the arena. It's a lot brighter. I know it's been something that you and I have been talking about the last few years, especially in the last 2 years, that they really needed to brighten up NXT, and they did that. I like, despite what a lot of people and professionals, say out there, I like the logo. Who cares if you can't properly center it? Not everybody's supposed to be this, high tech professional graphic designer. I do some graphic design on the side, wouldn't call myself professional with it, but who gives a crap? At the end of the day, it's a great looking logo. It's something you could put out there. It's going to fit anywhere. People are going to recognize it. That's all that matters. Um, but I like the intro, the music. I like the direction. I like the pacing of it. The pacing seems a little different. It kind of reminds me of a mix between Monday Night Raw of the mid 90s and Superstars from like the late 90s that you would see on the weekends. It's a nice blend of things where you got a lot of your undercard out there getting in some of those great enhancement matches just to get the talent some TV exposure, a little bit of time in the ring, and you let them talk a little bit as well. We get to know these characters on a live mic instead of just exclusively through vignettes. That's something that is, I
Yeah.
think, in the last 20 years, we need to step away from that. Let us know who you are by actions and by your words in front of a live audience instead of a pre-taped thing that probably took 50 different takes just to get it right.
Yeah.
Let us see you screw up a little bit. We need something like that. And it seems so far in the last 3 to 4 weeks on NXT, they're going in that direction. I think that's a positive thing. I like the new superstars. Braun Breaker
Oh
is my
yeah.
guy.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't watched this week's NXT, but I did see that Tony D'Angelo did come out. I can't wait to see that because as far as the vignettes go, that dude is going to be the next big star. Can't wait to see him live and in living color. No pun intended with the whole new NXT stuff, but um, but yeah, Tony D'Angelo, man, the brightest star of Chicago. This guy is going to be huge. I can't wait to see what he can do in person like that. But Braun Breaker is going to be a huge star. Recently wrote an article about that. Check that out, ringscoops.com. But that's my opening thoughts on NXT.
I without giving away because he hasn't seen it yet, and this is the week of October 6th, 2021. Um, without giving away anything, I like what they did with Tony. I think they of course everyone that they have put out needs some polishing. No one is 100% ready to go. And I just really like that it's something new. The thing that I am concerned about NXT is that the focus seems like it's all just new things. I would like to see more of the established NXT stars kind of have a bigger role rather than a supporting role. I was very shocked that and this segues into the draft. I was very shocked that they took a group like Hit Row. who I love Hit Row, and I love it because it's a very current act. I hit Webmaster up. I told him, I said, "Yo, these guys are stars." I sent him a text message on that. This is way before all of this,
Yep.
in terms of them being drafted to SmackDown. But I just said that is a very current. If you're talking about demographics, is what everybody's talking about is the demo. That is a very current demo that you can hit. The TikTok generation, the Instagram generation, that is that you're going to hit that with Hit Row.
Yeah.
Ridge Holland being drafted really kind of shook me, but he's extremely polished. He's extremely polished. I just think that maybe we should have worked on his gimmick a little bit more. Having a hat in the Billy Club doesn't really cut it as a gimmick.
I'm surprised they didn't put him with Tony D'Angelo, made him his muscle.
Yeah, I think that because one thing I will say without giving away anything is that he is a lot more jacked than I thought he was.
Yeah.
When he took, and I'm not talking about Rich, I'm talking about Tony D'Angelo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when he takes off his gear and wrestles, he's a big thick dude.
Really?
Yeah, I was very surprised with that. How
Yeah,
big
by
he
those
was.
videos, I would have thought he would have looked like Santino Morella in the physique
I
department.
would have thought that too, but he's a really like stocky guy.
So they got us
Um,
with the MySpace angles on those videos, and
yeah, right. Like, yeah, like I said, and that comes with the polishing because I'm sure they will update his look and his, things that come with it. But um, all in all, I like the direction of NXT. I love the newness of it. I just want it to be more of a balance.
yeah.
Because what happens is that, and the rating I think just came out for NXT.
Yep.
Let me see if I can pull that up.
I think it was just shy of 700,000.
Yeah, so this was 632,000.
All right, maybe not as shy as I thought.
um, I don't know what it was last week. I don't know if it dipped or not.
I think it did. I don't know if it was that or the demo. One of them went. They dipped 7%.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it probably dipped. And the reason why is NXT, they had a lot of established stars, and a lot of storylines of people that people knew.
Yeah.
That was like literally like if you look at NXT a few months ago, I mean, yeah, Adam Cole on there,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know. You had um oh my god, I can't believe I forgot this guy's name. Uh anyway, I'm horrible with
Gargano.
names. Yeah, Gargano. Thank you. Gargano on there. You had him feuding with I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. You had Gargano, you had you a few months ago, it's just a totally different brand. That's my whole point. My
Yeah.
whole point is that it was a totally sorry hit the mic. The whole point is that it was just a completely different vibe of NXT compared to now.
It
You
changed
had
fast.
right, you had Karrion Cross in a feud with Samoa Joe, and both of
Yeah.
those guys are gone.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, one by injury and but other by bad booking.
yeah, and Karrion Cross, I don't have a problem with the helmet.
Yeah.
I have a problem with a bad helmet.
Yeah.
That's what I think is the issue. If you had a cool looking helmet, because I'm thinking of back to like LOD 2000 when they came back out with Sunny,
Yeah.
and they had like a really cool helmet, and like they just look. I don't know what they did or how they did it, but they look great. If you had something that even Vader, Big Van Vader, he had a cool helmet. I'm with a cool helmet. I don't like him, wrestling in the overalls. I think that's stupid. I think there's a little
Yeah.
overkill. I think you could take that off and still
Looks like
have him wrestle.
Demolition 2000 is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just and again that's what sucks about the WWE right now is that they're in such of a need of stars because they fired I don't know how many people. And I'm sure if they can go back in time, I'm sure there's a few people that they decide that they would keep that are good mid-tier, mid-card workers. Um, but because they don't really have that, then they're just calling these guys up really, really fast from NXT. Karrion Kross is not ready. It's not ready. The Karrion Kross we saw in NXT is not the Karrion Kross we're experiencing now.
Oh hell no.
So if we would have maybe started with this version or variation of Karrion Kross in NXT and he had an opportunity to fine tune everything, sure, give him 5 or 6 months, call him up. But we didn't do that. We
Yeah.
just brought him up and then said we're going to do something different.
And took his
Same,
girl from him too.
right? That she was the focus point,
Yeah.
really, of the whole thing. Like she would be the one that would deliver the messages when he was champion.
Like, can
Um,
you imagine this? Imagine if you take a time machine, you go back in time with today's creative team. They would probably make a decision as right in the middle of an act, say, you know what, let's separate Goldust and Marlena. Like it's the same
right,
thing. They just go hand in hand. They work together so well to make a really polished, product. It's the same thing. Why
right, and
separate Scarlett from Carrion? It makes no sense to me.
it makes no sense to me. And what also doesn't make any sense to me is they're doing nothing with her as well too.
Yeah, she's on the bench and it sucks.
Right. So if she's on the if she's in a situation where you say, okay, we're just going to use Carrion right now, and now we're going to, maybe repackage her or reintroduce her. I think that's part of the reason why they had Mandy Rose dye her hair. Because they have the big thing about only certain women, superstars, whatever, looking a certain way. She's a
Yeah.
blonde.
Mhm.
So maybe she's coming in and they're going to do that. I don't know. But um she's on the bench, she's not being used. I think she could definitely be used in the women's division in NXT.
Oh
Um
yeah.
if you're not going to use her. What's also weird is isn't that her voice on the theme music for him?
I'm not familiar if it is or not.
Where it's like the fall and pray. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
her because I know she pantomimed it, but I don't know on the entrances. I don't know if that's actually her saying
Yeah,
that or
I'm
not.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it just if you're going to bring guys from NXT to the WWE main roster and you're introducing them to a bigger audience, then you would think because they never did that before. They would just call guys up. I remember they called up Prince Pretty. And when they called him up, um, he was the same gimmick.
Yeah.
So why would you call a guy up and then just say, nah, we'll change the gimmick. It's not good enough. We'll do something different. We're gonna call we're gonna call somebody Bearcat now. When it's like we already have it laid out. Hey, we're gonna put mask on one guy and put him in retribution.
Yeah.
Like, why would we do that? Doesn't make any sense to me. Why we would do that? The developmental is to create a character that is going to be good enough to go on the main roster. That's
You
the whole
know,
point.
one thing that I've never understood, and it's gotten more, increased recently, is the notion of Vince McMahon being a little bit more hands-on with NXT now than he's ever been. And there's a lot of people that don't like it. Now, what I'm about to say doesn't mean that I like it, doesn't mean that I'm endorsing it. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but just for one brief moment, imagine this. Imagine a developmental system that the guy that owns the overall company has a small hand in. So when people that are being developed get moved to the main roster, maybe the people that run the main roster aren't going to be out of the loop of these characters anymore, because the guy that has a hand in everything now has an idea of saying, this is the kind of character I want on the main roster. So maybe we could develop that kind of character, and I got my input in it. So you develop it and then bring it to me when it's ready. It's like a sous chef and Gordon Ramsay, right? Gordon Ramsay says,
Absolutely.
I need this.
That's
The
good.
sous chefs go around in there, they make everything, they bring it up, and he presents it onto the plate and it goes out there. That's the same system.
Right. And that was the whole point that they said that he was supposedly taking over, is that, or having more of a say, is that they wanted the talent in NXT to understand the style of WWE more.
Yeah.
They were wrestling indie style straight up and
Oh,
in,
yeah.
in, in NXT. It wasn't to the extent of what AEW does, but it was definitely a notch below that in terms of the, high work rate, false finishes,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like a perfect example of that is Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, their first match that they had. I
Yeah.
mean, he basically destroyed Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, I don't know how many maneuvers he hit on this guy, um, only to end up with Kyle O'Reilly winning. I think they even had I think they stretchered him out. I think at some point, I
I
think they
believe
stretchered
so.
both of them out at the end of the match.
Or it was that episode that Kyle O'Reilly was taken out and everybody thought he legit had a seizure, right?
No, no, no. This is when they had their first unsanctioned match,
Okay.
and I think it was on a takeover.
All right.
And it was a very long match,
As they
and
all were.
yeah, and they just hit move after move after move after move. So that's not WWE style.
That sounds like
Um,
the Adam Cole Johnny Gargano saga too. Like that was just nothing but a good work rate. I'm not tearing any of that part. It's just as far as like getting exhausted from a match, like it's a lot that they put
it's a
into
it's
those.
it's a lot. It's a lot. There's nothing if you're doing 20,000 moves, only so many moves I can do as a wrestler. So if you're doing 20,000 moves, then and I'm doing 20,000 of those same moves just in a different variation, um what makes it an entertaining match? If everyone's giving like if we're giving them 25 minutes and they're before me and I'm the main and I got 27 minutes, what can I do in those 27 minutes that they haven't done in that 25?
Yeah.
That takes away from me.
Hmm.
So all in all, I understand what Vince is doing. I understand why he did it. And I think it's working. Before it debuted, nobody knew who where were these people? That's what I want to know.
Hey, from what I heard, Braun Breaker started training and got into wrestling just this year alone. I believe back in February. So
Oh
literally, he did
wow.
come out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of like how we talked last time about Bianca Belair, that she
Yeah.
came from nowhere. She is one of the top women in the entire business right now.
Yeah.
Um, so if you get the right group of people, because there's certain things, I mean, at a certain point, you just say that things are not going to work with those certain characters. And a lot of people were disappointed in a lot of the firings that the WWE did at the time. But if you think about it from a perspective of, is this person going to be a possible world champion or even an intercontinental champion? Or is he believable? Or is she believable? Then I think a lot of that was based off of their decision making of firing people from the NXT brand.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to the direction that they're going to, but just all in all, just to kind of wrap up the NXT discussion. All in all, we just have to, in my opinion, have to have a mixture. Braun Breaker is only going to be as good as his partner in the ring.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so that's kind of how I feel that you can elevate this. But I want to start talking about this draft. Now I have in front of me. This is from WWE.com. This is the full results of the draft. Now, I'm gonna go to. Is this night one? Make sure this is night one. Yes. Okay. So this is night one. And I'm going to read the first round. See if we have any comments. round by round of anything we would change, do differently, or whatever, and then we'll kind of handle it that way. So round number one, night one, number one pick, Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Acknowledge me. Pick number two, WWE Champion Big E on Raw. Pick number three, Raw's Women's Champion Charlotte Flair goes to SmackDown. And the final pick of the first round, Bianca Belair goes to Raw. Anything that you agree or disagree with in that first round?
The Roman Reigns and Big E picks don't surprise me at all. Big E, was on SmackDown. He's the WWE champion. Him going to Raw, no surprise. Roman Reigns is just SmackDown and Fox both together, tailor made for a guy like Roman Reigns. I don't see that guy going anywhere. He's not going to another channel. He's not going to another brand. This is perfect for that. A little surprised by Charlotte Flair, um, but I'm actually not surprised by Bianca Belair.
Why is that?
I think in a very short period of time, I think she accomplished quite a bit over on SmackDown. In under a year, she won a Royal Rumble. She main evented WrestleMania. She won a title at WrestleMania. She had a pretty decent feud. Her and Bayley tore it down, kind of, established her as a champion. She went on to have her little scats here and there with Sasha Banks. Got the Rumble in the Jungle, if you will, with Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch gave her the last minute rub on her way out over to Raw, and I think Raw is going to suit her a little bit better with some of the stars they have over on Raw.
Yeah, I agree. I think that she's done a lot fast. At first, I didn't like how she lost the title, but because she lost the title that way, then now that creates a lot of storyline opportunities for her. And the way that they've basically been building her is like she can't finish a match because of Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And it's like, from that perspective, it's like, okay, cool. We have a continuing problem here to put her, because like I always say, when you have the heel as the champion and the baby face is chasing, then there's always bigger business that way. So I like what they did. I didn't understand it at first, but now I understand it. My biggest thing that I have out of that group of people, if I'm going to talk about something, is a Big E. And it's not a surprise to Webmaster.
Yeah.
Now listen, this may be the first time I'm talking about Big E, so let me hit you guys up on how I feel about Big E. I am not a New Day fan, and this is why. Let me repeat that. I am not a New Day fan, and this is why.
Keep all the glass jars away, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not a New Day fan because I am not a fan of goofiness. I'm definitely not a fan of black goofiness. When I mean black goofiness, the WWE and the pro wrestling industry pretty much has a reputation of having guys who look like me and wait, no, I'm just playing, look like me, that that look like me, playing these stupid roles, whether it's a Kamala, whether it's a Varuk, whether it's a someone that's mixed and you were Samoan, a soul man, a junkyard dog. Like, all of these type of gimmicks are gimmicks.
Don't forget my favorite.
Hmm.
Virgil.
Virgil.
And when I say favorite, I don't mean like in the sense that people are probably thinking like, wait, why is it your favorite? It's a different kind of favorite.
It's a long story,
I'm
but
a mark for Virgil.
he is. Um, um, Virgil. Um, Mad Johnson and the Pearl River Plunge.
A new sensation to the squared circle.
This is a new generation. Yeah. Uh, um, those are not really people or characters that really speak for the experience of a black man or what they are or what they could be or what they're going through or whatever. The boogeyman. I mean, I can go on and on and on of all these crazy gimmicks that you put on African American men. Um, Big E in the New Day is another variation to me of those type of characters where you're happy go lucky. Hey, hi, how you doing? Everything fine, sir. Everything fine. I don't like that. The power of positivity and all that. I don't like that. How come that's not for any other wrestler or gimmick or whatever? Why are they coming out in bright colors and throwing pancakes to people and having booty O's? Like, why is that? And
I'm
that's
glad I didn't wear my Bootio shirt today.
and that's but that's the thing. From a cultural standpoint,
Yeah.
um, it's effed up. But from just an entertainment standpoint, people like it because they're entertaining. You laugh with them, you joke with them. It's entertaining. You had a guy, and this is where my problem is. You had a guy in Bobby Lashley who you spent a lot of time developing as a bona fide monster. No goofy gimmick, part of the hurt business, somebody that legitimately, when you see him, you legitimately think that he's going to rip someone's head off. You had him in a match 2 times in one night on Monday Night Raw against Big E. First time in that match, it looked like he was going to win the title. Then the New Day jumped in. I don't know if that was supposed to happen like that or if it was timing issues or whatever, but that's basically what it looked like. It looked like he was going to hit the spear. There's no interference, and the New Day got in the ring, and there was a big brawl. Then we had the cage match, and common sense would say we need to build up, of course, Big E, because he's the WWE champion, but we need to also save Bobby Lashley because he's going to be going against Goldberg in one of their marquee matches. So why would we have him lose cleanly to Big E? He's pinned, like he even on the when they had that impromptu match, didn't Big E pin Lashley also in that 6-man tag?
Um, I can't remember offhand, but I'll take a word for it.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I'm legitimately asking, but
Yeah.
even if he did or didn't, the whole perspective is or not perspective, but perception is
Hmm.
that Biggie had his number,
Yeah.
no matter what. Every time they get in the ring, he had his number. So you just really had this guy that was a big time contender, beat Drew McIntyre multiple times, beat remember he had two Hell in a Cell matches
Yeah.
on Monday Night Raw, I think. No, not. I'm sorry.
I
He had
mean,
a
he had
Hell in
one
a
on Raw
Cell
and then one on the
match,
pay per view, right?
right? He had one on the pay per view against Coffee Kingston, I think, or was it Coffee Kingston?
I think it was Drew, wasn't it, at the pay per view?
It was okay. I'm mixing things up. I apologize.
It's been a long summer.
It's been a long summer, right? But the way that it was back to back Hell in a Cell matches. He had one
Yeah.
on Sunday, and then he had one on Monday.
Yeah, because USA wanted one because they had one on Fox, right? USA was like, well, we want it too now.
Yeah, they had like a big match that they gave away on. I think I don't know if that was the Finn Balor Roman Reigns situation or if there was another match that was big that they gave away. for free on SmackDown. I don't remember. You guys probably remember. If you remember, comment down below.
Yeah.
Because again, I remember stuff, but I'm not an almanac about the wrestling, the wrestling that we just saw because we digest a lot of it.
I
But
remember more stuff from 20 years ago than I did last week.
yeah, because and not only that, because I've seen it multiple times from 20 years ago, so I can kind of,
That's what
I
must
can't.
see TV does for you. It makes you want to watch it again.
Right, exactly. But all in all, they spent all this time building him up. He beat Kofi Kingston, he beat Xavier Woods, he beat Drew McIntyre, and you really made him look like someone that was a force to be reckoned with, only for him to lose for the first time in a match against Big E. I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
There's a better booking decisions that could be made to make Big E look strong and make Bobby Lashley look strong too. I think they could have made better decisions with that because now Bobby Lashley is kind of like a guy.
Can I add something real quick, please?
Sure, please.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you remember when we did the Money in the Bank predictions on the Ring Scoops podcast?
I remember we did it, but I don't remember all of it.
If my memory serves correct, I think my prediction to win Money in the Bank was Big E.
It
And you called me
was.
crazy. And I said, here's what you do with Big E. You build him up to go up against Lashley. You take the strap from him. You bring back the Hurt Business, and you run the New Day versus the Hurt Business.
Yes. You did say that. You did
What
say that.
what happened recently on Raw?
Well, we had an impromptu, just like, hey, we'll just go ahead and bring the Hurt Business back, which we didn't really acknowledge that it happened.
Yeah. If it was on SmackDown, they'd acknowledge it.
Jeez.
That's the land of acknowledgement right there.
You're right. So yeah, but they just kind of put the thing together real fast, and then you beat them, and then there's no reason, there's nothing left, and then Bobby Lashley's still on Raw. So it wasn't like he was doing the
and he's got a
job
match
and then
against
leaving.
Goldberg coming up too.
Right. So it's like he's already damaged goods. So how do we build him up again?
Yeah.
In
a
a
very
short period of time. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the problem that I had in that batch. Okay, so we go to round number 2. Round number 2, we have Drew McIntyre goes to SmackDown. Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro stay on Raw. The New Day go to SmackDown, and Edge goes to Raw. What is your thoughts on the second round?
Well, Big E goes to Raw. I kind of get excited. You're like, all right, we are going to get this New Day and Hurt Business thing. And then they move Kofi and Xavier back over to SmackDown. And it's like, oh, well, that excitement's gone for a little bit. I like the idea of Drew McIntyre going to SmackDown. I think he needs a whole fresh amount of guys to run at because you really think about it, it's almost been 2 full years since the Drew McIntyre experiment had started, and it was nothing but Monday Night Raw for that guy. So the change of scenery is much needed for him, and I think there's big money in Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns on a consistent weekly basis with some good build, maybe going up into perhaps TLC in December and whatnot. They can have a hell of a match with each other.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a fantastic match. Drew coming over there breathes new life into the competitors that Roman can go against. I like Edge's move to Raw. I like that a lot. You can have him go after the world title. You can have him legitimately win the world championship because there's no way he was win the title on SmackDown with as hot as Roman is.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of that. I am not a fan, like you said, of breaking the New Day up again. We kind of seemed like we were putting them back together. When Coffee had that world title reign, which wasn't memorable, was not memorable.
No, it was bookended by memorable moments. I can't speak right now for some reason, but
listen,
everybody remembers the win.
The whole show.
Yeah, and everybody remembers the win. Everybody remembers the loss. Don't remember a whole lot in between.
Yeah, as I always say, this guy would be good on his second world title reign. I don't ever see Coffee winning the belt again, the world title. Again, that's what that goofiness comes in at. If we're him going around saying I'm the WWE champion, baby, and you have another guy that wants to rip his head off, that doesn't. How does that work? If I'm in a
Yeah.
fight with you, if I want to fight you, and I'm saying, hey man, I want to get in a fight with you, and I'm gonna beat the crap out of you, and your response is bring it on, baby. How are you thinking that I'm gonna take you serious if I'm gonna fight you?
Yeah.
Like boxing is like when they have these press conferences, the whole reason for these press conferences is to sell the fight because both of these guys, oh, when I get in the ring, I'm gonna knock his head off. I'm gonna spit down his neck and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
it just didn't work. But
It reminds me
had
of like those TikTok and Vine videos you'd see where guys would go up and try to pick a fight with somebody, and as soon as they were about to throw hands, he would just drop trow, and the guy would be like, "What the fuck?" and they'd run away.
right, or they act like they were going to fight. There's one going around that acting like they're going to fight, and then they actually start dancing with each other or something. So it just doesn't make any sense. So, but what helped it was the New Day
Yeah.
being behind him to try to help with these interviews, help with the storylines that he was in to kind of push the feud forward. So if you would have had the New Day to help Big E on Raw, then I think that would be better for Big E's character because having him in the ring this past Monday talking and then having him toned all the way down with his arms crossed, that's not Big E. That's not what people like. So it's kind of hard to make him serious when he's been goofy this entire time. So they have to kind of figure out what is going to be the balance. And I think the New Day would help bring that balancing in. So I don't agree with that. Um, okay, round number 3. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss go to SmackDown. Stay on SmackDown, I should say. The WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash stay on Raw. Hit Row, as we talked about earlier, go to SmackDown, and Keith Bearcat Lee stays on Raw. Any questions or comments? Well, not questions, but any comments about that round?
I the hit row thing.
Hmm.
I don't like them being taken away from NXT
Yeah, they're not ready
for
yet.
for several reasons. Expect the girl that's with them. What's her name?
B Fab,
BFAB. She
very green.
they all have a great look. They're all
Mhm.
really great on the mic. They've got that current image. They just got the act down. In ring needs work, especially with her.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to
Oh
the
no, I
take
agree.
anything away from her. That's for
I
anybody
agree.
out there watching this. I'm really making that clear. I'm not taking anything away from her. She's new. She's green. It's to be expected, but
Right.
she really needs a lot more in
She needs
ring
a lot of
work.
work. Absolutely.
And to be drafted over on a show like SmackDown that's watched by over 2 million people on a weekly basis, that's throwing somebody in the deep end. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah, because the only person that we know can go is Isaiah Scott.
Yeah.
And then he's really been kind of pulled away as a focus point of Hit Row. It's more been, at first I thought it was like he was their leader, but all of the, backstage segments, interviews, promos have been together as Hit Row, bouncing
Kind of
off.
like how the Shield was when they first came out. There was really no leader. It was just all three collective unit, right?
Right, exactly. So, but it's way too soon. Be Fab, beautiful woman, way too soon. I just want to say that I hate the name Madcap Moss. I think that is completely stupid. I think that is a stupid name. Um, just call him Moss or something, but not Madcap. Because mind you, they were doing the whole he's telling a joke type guy or whatever. So They used to have like those Mad Cat books. A lot of people don't remember those, and there used to be a bunch of like rhymes and jokes and riddles and stuff in the Mad Cat books. But anyway, it's I just wanted to say that it's a stupid name.
Yeah.
Um, and then of course, cap means lying. So now that's the slang.
Yeah.
Stop the cap, stop lying. So Mad Lion Moss. All right, anyway. Round number 4. Naomi goes to SmackDown. Ray and Dominic Mysterio head over to Raw. Jeff Hardy goes to SmackDown, and Austin Theory goes to Monday Night Raw. Any thoughts on that round?
I got several thoughts on that one actually.
Okay.
Um, uh, Naomi on SmackDown, she continues the thing with uh, wow, Sonya Deville. Good stuff there. So we get some continuation with that. Ray and Dominic over to Raw. I got excited when they announced that because I think you got 3 hours on Raw, you got 2 hours on SmackDown, so you get a little bit more time if you need to help develop, Dominic to that next level over on Raw. And then some of the stars that they're willing to take a chance on over on Raw compared to over on SmackDown as well, kind of fit more into like the tier of the kind of talent that Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio are. Uh, you know, um, the what were the other ones?
The other ones were Naomi, Jeff
Naomi,
Hardy, and Austin Theory.
Jeff Hardy over on SmackDown. It's funny. It's like Jeff Hardy's one of those guys that every year in the draft he goes to the other brand. He never sticks
Yeah,
around for more than a year on each one.
yeah.
So I'm not, what Roman Reigns needs somebody he can, bump around for a couple weeks. So expect to see those guys go at it, maybe at the Royal Rumble. And then Austin Theory. I'll tell you this: taking him not only away from the way but out of NXT as well, that tells you right now what the future lies for Johnny Gargano. Johnny is not sticking around. They split his group up.
Yeah.
Indy's got her own thing going. Austin Theory's over on the main roster now. Candice is pregnant. Gargano's contract expires in December, and he's done everything he possibly could at NXT. I think that right there just shows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to stick around. I think that um, there's certain guys on NXT that you just know are not going to ever leave NXT. He's
Yeah,
one of them. Tommaso Ciampa is another one.
yeah,
Um, the bruiserweight, Pete Dunne, he's another guy that will never leave. Just based off of his size. A lot of it has to do with their size, because Vince is a big mark on size.
yeah,
But uh, they're just not going to leave NXT because I don't think that their characters will not, and that's probably why, like we were saying earlier in the show, why Vince came back in, took everything over, because those guys wouldn't fit. They don't fit a WWE role. They're built as very popular indie stars, basically,
yeah.
on NXT. They're not built as WWE superstars. That's a totally different thing. But I agree with Ray and Dominic moving. Jeff Hardy, cutting the promo saying that it may be a different persona. I was like, oh God. So we're gonna have the Will the Wisp, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that character, but hey, maybe it'll work this time. Maybe they'll make it look better this time. I don't know. But Austin Theory had a hell of a debut.
Yeah.
Um, so it'll be very interesting to see where they stick him at.
I loved what he did when he got that selfie with Jeff Hardy and then just clobbered him. And then he posted the selfie on social media with a dead Jeff Hardy behind him.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really
Yeah.
good. So after the round was over and the night was over, then surprisingly from the Talking Smack stream, they named more draft picks. And those draft picks are Akira Tozawa stays on Raw. The Alpha Academy, Otis and Chad Gable, they moved to Raw.
Yeah.
Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz move to Raw. Dewdrop stays on Raw. Drake Maverick comes to Raw. John Morrison stays on Raw. Nia Jax stays on Raw. Reggie stays on Raw. R Truth stays on Raw. T Bar goes to Raw, or stays on Raw, I should say. And Zelina Vega moves to Raw. Any comments about those? I know those are a lot of guys and gals.
Yeah.
Guys and gals and gals and guys. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm excited to see what the Alpha Academy can do over on Raw, and I think maybe this might be a chance for Zelina Vega to, finally get something for her since coming back to the WWE. Uh, Her return over on SmackDown has been very lackluster. Maybe Raw can possibly change that up for her, but those are the two switches that out of that bunch that sticks out to me the most.
Yeah, I think Zelina Vega is going to help the women's division greatly. Reggie, I'm tired of this flipping stuff every week. Like I said, that's another stereotype.
Yeah.
Um, if you go to any boardwalk presentation of talent, and when I mean boardwalk presentation, the most famous one is downtown Las Vegas. And you go to the Fremont
Fremont Strip.
Street Experience, and you see a bunch of my brothers and sisters flipping, because that's what they do. That's a black cultural thing. Why, I don't know. They've been doing that for a very long time. Do that in Venice Beach. They do that in Santa Monica on the Santa Monica Pier. That's like a cultural thing. And if we're gonna do it as a cultural thing, then let's make it a cultural thing. But the guy's name is Reggie. He has a suit and he just flips every single week, and it's not entertaining anymore. They got to figure something else out with that.
Hey,
Um,
just real quick, jumping into
mhm.
the stereotype thing, real quick too. An interesting read if anybody out there is interested in any of this stuff. But there was a man by the name of Edward Said who, back in I believe it was the '70s, he wrote a book called Orientalism, and it's about Western society's views about people from like the Middle East and from Asia and whatnot, and how Western society views them as uneducated, barbaric. They're nasty, they're chaotic, they do all these different things. And a form of that is, back in the day in the TV shows like Gilligan's Island and all that, headhunters and islanders, the
Right,
Samoans and all that, were always looked at as vicious people. And that
right,
is just huge in professional wrestling. The Wild Samoans, right?
yeah,
Yokozuna,
yeah.
Bobo Brazil, even though
Hmm.
he was a babyface, still stuff they had him do.
Ernie
You
the
had
Cat
mentioned,
Lad, yeah.
yeah, it's a great
Mhm,
example there too. You'd also mentioned earlier Kamala.
mhm.
So it all kind of fits together. So if anybody out there wants, a really good educated read on that kind of stuff, Orientalism by Edward Said, highly recommended. It will open your eyes.
I haven't read that book. To be honest with you, I'm not a big book reader like I used to be, because I got a lot of crap I got to do. There's not enough time in the day, seems like.
Yeah.
But that's something that I definitely would be interested in reading, man.
I normally
Um,
wouldn't have read anything like that on my own leisure time unless it was recommended, but
mhm.
fortunately for me, it was one of the required texts during my studies of communications at Cal State San Bernardino.
Yeah, that's dope. I think that is not only is that dope, but I think that should be something that a lot of these entertainment companies should look at,
Yeah.
because it's not only just a WWE problem, it's an entertainment problem
Oh, absolutely.
where, all these stereotypes. I mean, for example, they had a movie called Crazy Rich Asians. We could have called it anything else, but that's what we called it.
Yeah.
Tyler Perry is known for making these movies where it is just completely stereotypical of the South and stuff like that. And again, this is not a show about that. This is just us speaking the reality of what's going on in society.
Yeah.
So the Reggie thing, we gotta drop that. I don't even know if he can really wrestle.
It's a
They
good
they
question.
did they did do something entertaining with him and Ricochet. I said, oh, okay, that could be entertaining. And they had a quick little match, but it just ended the same way. So it's like, how am I supposed to take this guy serious?
Hey, if WWE ever does a partnership with synergy with Circus Soleil, Reggie's always got a job in Vegas, right?
He always has a job in Vegas. Okay, so then SmackDown we have oh yeah, then of course T-Bar,
Hmm.
um him, you know, I don't know what they're gonna do.
That's Dijakovic, right? T-Bar.
I don't know if that's Dijakovic or if he was Mace. I don't know which one it is.
I
But
think Mace was what was his name? Um, oh my God, it's on the tip of my. I hate when that happens.
yeah, I've been forgetting names all show. Like I don't know what I'm
Dio
talking.
Madden.
Yeah, yeah.
That's I
So
think that was Mace.
yeah, so him, he should have never been in this gimmick in the first place. Both of these guys,
Yeah,
they're both big, talented guys. So it'll be good to have another mid card situation uh, for if you book them and build them more correctly. I'm just really concerned for Dio. That's his name, right?
yeah.
Um, I'm very concerned for him because again, what type of stupid gimmick are you gonna give this guy? How come he can't just be who he is? You know, you can probably put him into a stupid scenario or situation. I hope not, but that's kind of been their track record.
Yeah.
Okay, so SmackDown, we have Aaliyah being called up from NXT. Well, she was called up, but she never really debuted.
Every time I think of Aaliyah, I hear her name, I see her picture, I think, and this is going back a long time. I think it was like 2015.
Hmm.
WWE did a documentary series on their network about that generation of NXT, and she was just constantly trying to come up with entrances, gimmicks, looks, stuff to do in the ring. Nothing worked for her. And that was
Wow.
6 years ago. And apparently nothing's changed. It does I have no idea what she's about. Nothing about her has like made me say, you know what, maybe we should give her a chance. So if nothing's changed in 6 years, it's like that time 2 years after my back surgery, I went to Ballard Rehabilitation, and the doctor came in and says, "Nothing has changed in 2 years. Do you think things are going to change overnight here now? Are you going to think you're going to walk tomorrow?" And I just looked at him. I said, "You know what? You're right. Maybe instead of me trying to spend all this time on that, I should spend my, adjusting to my life as this. It's nothing's changed for her. Maybe she should look for a new line of work." And I know I'm sound like a douche by saying that, but sometimes, like, dude, reality's reality. This isn't your line of work. If you want to be in the business, look at something outside of the ring to do. Interviews, commentary, referee, something.
Right. And then when talent like that gets released and everybody goes, oh, why did you release her? She could have been. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. The Iconics, very, especially Billy Kay, with the whole here's my resume, that was very, very entertaining, but they couldn't work.
Yeah.
And this is the wrestling business. We don't need two more chicks or two more. It doesn't have to be chicks. I don't want to come across like I'm sexist. We don't need two more people that can just talk because we have a line of people already that we hired to just talk.
Yeah.
So we don't need you to do what they do. We need you to do this in the ring. Great characters, horrible in-ring workers. And that kind of goes to a comment that was kind of made earlier today by Lana.
I knew you were going to bring her up.
And she said that if she looked like Charlotte Flair, then she would be world champion. Listen, Lana's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Um, you just can't work, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's just not for you. Even Marie can't work. It's
Yeah.
just not for her. So, um, I hate to be that guy, but that's the reality. It has nothing to do with your look because your look was there.
Oh, yeah.
Because what are you trying to say? You trying to say that Charlotte Flair is ghastly, ugly? That's what you're trying to say? If you look like her, not as attractive as her, then is that because that's I would take it as that. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Might as well say that if I look like Nia Jax, then I would have like, you know what I mean? Like what are you trying to allude to?
I want to know what edibles she's on, man, because I want some of them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Tony will sign you. Don't worry about it. He got you.
Yeah,
Okay, so night two. We're going a little long here, guys, but you guys are enjoying it. You're
that's what
fine.
she said.
You're fine. You're enjoying it. Round number two, round number one of night two of Monday Night Raw, where they named a lot more draft picks. I mean, I guess that happens when you have an extra hour.
Yeah.
Round one, SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch goes to Raw. SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, go to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley stays on Raw. Sasha Banks goes to or stays on SmackDown. Any comments about that?
I'm happy that Becky's going back to Monday Night Raw. All due respect to Becky Lynch, I think she's more suited on Raw than she is over on SmackDown. SmackDown doesn't need her.
Well, some people like Vince Russo think that she can't cut a promo, but I think that she has her best. She's been doing. She's crossing over into embracing her full time heelness.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. I don't have a problem with any of those people. I think they should have did more with the Usos because at the end of SmackDown, Roman Reigns said, "Well, make sure that you're drafted to SmackDown, and if you're not, leave Paul Heyman where he stands," or something like that. So I thought that could have been more of the focus point, but you can tell it's kind of a backstage, tape thing that they did, which
Yeah,
is
but you
fine.
know what? They should have, I don't think the Usos should have been drafted in that first round on night two. They should have stretched out all night long and then maybe even like show the Usos in the back or show Roman Reigns in the back on the phone with Paul Heyman, or even just Paul Heyman on the phone talking like he's talking to Roman, like I'm still working on it, still working on it.
Right, right. I think they could have dragged that out more rather than just giving that away so fast. Night round two of night two. Seth Rollins goes to Raw, Intercontinental Champion King Nakamura with Rick Boogs stays on SmackDown. United States Champion Damian Priest stays on Raw. Sheamus goes over to SmackDown.
Yeah. I'm glad that Nakamura and Boogs are still on SmackDown because
I like their pairing, very odd couple, but it works.
yeah, and then especially with Pat on commentary, vibing to them when they come out. Like the trio is just a great act together. Um, Seth Rollins to Raw doesn't surprise me because Becky went over, and they probably want to kind of keep them, on the same wavelength to a degree.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
excited because we might see Seth Rollins get back in the title mix over on Raw, and of course, Edge is moving over there, so they might be able to tie up loose ends on that by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with that round. Sheamus, I'm not a huge Sheamus fan,
Who
but I've
is?
been I've been liking his work as of late.
Yeah.
It's better than the whole fella thing that I just did not like any of that. So putting him on SmackDown, in a feud with Nakamura, or in a feud with maybe a member of Hit Row.
Imagine this. You said Nakamura, right? So
Mhm.
imagine Boogs is up on the stage, he's playing his guitar, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes a brogue kick, and Nakamura comes out, and then they start brawling, and that's you just start a feud with that, and they just ask James, "Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "I don't like his guitar playing," or something like that. Shit accent. I'm
Right.
sorry,
Right.
but just because he's just a big, Irish meanie, like he doesn't like the guitar. I
Right.
wouldn't have done it if he was playing bagpipes. Something stupid like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's another start of a feud. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Jericho started a blood feud with Kane because he spilled coffee on him. So it's possible.
I remember when the Shadow Man did like a whole epilogue rant on that one time on Squared Circle.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it ended up being a good feud.
It did, yeah.
I mean, start over coffee, but hey, it was
We're
a
still
great
talking
feud.
about it
It's a
21 years
great
later.
feud. We remember it,
Yeah.
right? Okay, round number three. AJ Styles and also Omos
Omas.
uh, go to Raw. Stay on Raw. Shayna Baszler goes to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens comes to Raw, and Zaya Lee,
Yeah. Zia Lee.
Zaya Lee goes to SmackDown.
My buddy DA's favorite.
Ah, yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I wasn't using it as
Shayna,
a joke, but it could be as well.
yeah, it can go either way.
Yeah.
Shayna
Like him.
Baszler, very happy about that. Um, Kevin Owens, very happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what they do with Xia Li. I think that she should have, like, they were getting over the whole gimmick that she had with Tian Shay, I think her name is,
I believe so.
on NXT, and then they just cut her out.
Yeah.
So, and now they're having her wrestle for herself, which is kind of weird based off of the gimmick. But hey, but I don't have a problem with that. Shayna Baszler, hopefully she'll finally get the shine that she deserves in the title. They have her on a pretty good push right now, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I pissed a lot of people off on Twitter when they announced Shanna going to SmackDown because I said, "Can we get 2 hours of Shayna Baszler choking Sasha Banks out every week?" And that pissed a lot of people off.
I mean, we need a legitimate tough girl because we don't have that. You know,
Yeah.
the tough girl was oh my god, I can't believe I forgot her name. I'm getting they're gonna fire me after the show ends today. Someone's going to call and fire me.
You're not talking about Summer Rae, are you?
No,
She was tough.
the freaking combat MMA chick.
Sonya Deville,
No, not her. The other one, the one that matters.
Ronda Rousey.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Ronda Rousey. They have no tough chicks anymore on either brand. So Shayna Baszler. I sound like Jim Cornette because he doesn't know anybody's name either.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So Shayna Baszler should be that tough chick on SmackDown. Okay, next round, round four, and then Kevin Owens. I just it just feels like they have an agreement that he's just gonna job his way out. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
But if he leaves, he leaves. I mean, I never was really a big Kevin Owens fan.
I'm a little excited over the possibility of maybe seeing Kevin Owens and Big E at least one time for the title.
Yeah, they just have to kind of figure out what the direction that they're going to take Kevin Owens in, because if you're going to get him over, I mean, not him over, but use him to get other people over, then you're going to have to build him up a little bit before you break him down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rub won't mean anything.
I agree.
So then we have round four, the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, Finn Balor, and Ricochet. Street Profits go to Raw, Viking Raiders go to SmackDown, Finn Balor goes to Raw, and Ricochet goes to SmackDown.
Have you noticed that like pretty much the tag team division swapped? Like Raw's divisions on SmackDown, SmackDown's is over on Raw. So which means that as far as tag team wrestling goes, we're not going to see anything new because it's the same freaking faces.
It's the same faces. I think they completely destroyed the women's tag division. They like they broke up a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe they feel that they can do something better, or they see something in that tag team that maybe the other show didn't see. The only like the Viking Raiders on SmackDown, I don't know how that's gonna work out. I don't know how that's gonna work out. They built whatever Paul. Listen, when Paul Heyman had the book, Paul Heyman did everything in his power to get these guys over. He had them
Yeah.
wrestling every single week. So maybe with Paul being by them and having their ear again, you can push them as a legitimate tag team. It's just a very old school gimmick. that I don't think really transfers or resonates to today with the Viking stuff. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't see a lot of Viking Raiders t-shirts in the world.
Yeah.
Round number 5. Oh yeah, then Ricochet going to SmackDown. That's good for him. Putting him in a feud. Anything. He's
Get,
too good. He's
getting
too
them away from
talented.
the getting them away from the 24/7 division stuff.
Yeah, he's way too talented to not be involved in something.
Yeah.
Great name, great entrance.
Maybe him and Nakamura will mix it up.
Yeah, because when Heyman had the book, he was really pushing him to the moon to the point that he had a match against Lesnar. So,
Yeah.
you know, it'll be interesting. Um, round 5, Karrion Cross stays on Raw. Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza goes to SmackDown. Alexa
Okay.
Bliss stays on Raw, and Cesaro stays on SmackDown. I really like this tag team, man, from Humberto and Angel Garza. They just
Yeah.
need a name. I can't call them that. That's a lot of names. They just need a tag team name. I don't know what you call them, but they have a great look. I like how they're being like the lover boys. Um, I love it. I think they could do great things on SmackDown if they package them carefully.
If this was 20 years ago, they'd just simply call them the Latin lovers.
They probably would, and then they would get over.
Yeah.
They would get over. Um, so
Muy
that's it.
Caliente. That's their new name.
Listen, I think that could work because the thing is that it's already a stereotype, and I hate to go back to that conversation, but it's already a stereotype. So why
Yeah.
don't we just, it's not hide what it is. Let's call it what it is. A spade, a spade.
Yeah.
No disrespect to anybody. Let's call it what it is. Um, round 6, Carmella goes to Raw. Ridge Holland goes to SmackDown. Gable Stevenson goes to
Ooh.
Raw. And Sami Zayn goes or stays on SmackDown. Your thoughts?
For somebody straight out of the Olympics, gets a gold medal, signs with the company, doesn't show up on TV, is involved in the draft, is huge. It tells you we're going to use this guy without telling you, hey, we're going to use this guy. Right now, the expectation level for this guy from a fan standpoint, because of how the company's been dealing with this guy, is going to exceed the expectations that we've ever had for a guy like, say, like a Kurt Angle in the past. We've seen how they used him. We've seen how they used a guy like Brock Lesnar and
Yeah,
then Mark Henry. So
yeah,
those are like kind of like the predecessors for this kind of athlete coming in.
yeah,
We're going to expect a lot out of this guy. Hopefully, they are not overhyping and going to under deliver. Let's hope that the delivery at least matches the hype that this guy's getting.
yeah. Because we don't know if he, to be a WWE superstar, you need the whole package, and we don't know if he can talk yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he's very athletic. I'm sure that he can go. And what happens with a lot of these guys, a lot of people that come from different sports, they have them do the same moves that they do in this whatever sport that they were in. And aka Goldberg, the spear, he was a football player. So they say, hey, just go out there, tackle the guy.
Yeah.
Um,
The goon with the punching.
um, Ronda Rousey with her judo background,
Yeah.
with the flips and stuff like that. Braun Breaker with his background in amateur wrestling background. So a lot of those type of takedowns they did with Lesnar as well too when he came in.
Yeah.
So I think he'll have that part of it down. It's just as he have the whole package. Ridge Holland, we talked about him earlier in the show. I wouldn't mind if he formed a tag team with Sheamus.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't mind that. But I think Sheamus is probably going to, if he's going to form a tag team with anybody, probably Cesaro. Bring back the bar.
Why not make it a trio? It could be like a modern take on APA. Remember, they just like to get drunk and beat ass. These guys could do the same thing. They could be in a pub just getting hammered, just beat ass.
Right. It could be something, monumental like that.
Yeah.
But I was shocked that they called his name, but I get why they did it. He's very, very polished, like I said, minus the gimmick. He's making the gimmick work, but he can go. He's really solid in the ring.
Love it when he just comes out with that club. It kind of reminds me of like Sting with the bat in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I get like Finley vibes of it, but I just think that he needs to be more than just coming out with the club. Give him
Yeah.
more depth. That's why I think he should have stayed a little longer in NXT. But if I was going to pluck anybody out of that system and bring them into the main roster, those would be one of the candidates, one of those guys.
I'm surprised LA Knight wasn't taken away from NXT.
I'm being honest with you. I was too. LA Knight is ready now.
But he's been ready for 10 years.
Yeah, he's ready now. He can wrestle and he can talk. I don't like that they give like that whole knight helmet as his logo. I don't think that's kind of stupid. It's too
Yeah.
easy. Just have LA Knight in big bright red letters, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's ready. He's ready. Like I said, Rich Holland would be in that top three. Number one would be LA Knight for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Bianca Belair, she never won an NXT Women's Championship.
No, I don't think she did. No.
No, she never did. I remember she did. I remember because I would think I didn't really know who she was, and then I started getting into her because I really liked her gimmick. I liked her music, all of it. She had a complete package, and they would always put her in those big matches on takeovers or whatever, and she would never win
Yeah.
the title.
Alexa
So
Bliss never won an NXT Women's title too.
right, so
And
they
look at the star she became.
right, so they're like plucking people out and saying, hey, we have bigger plans for you in the main roster. Bump that title, you know.
Yeah.
So then we are talking about when Raw went off the air again. This is the thing that they did similar to SmackDown. This is courtesy of Raw Talk that streams on the Peacock Network and the WWE Network as well everywhere else in the world outside of the United States. Okay, so Raw, we have Dana Brooke. These are all Raw people, by the way. Dana Brooke, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode that come over. Jackson Riker, Veer, Liv Morgan, Mia Yim is called up. Tamina, Tegan Knox is separated from Shotzi Blackheart, thank God. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander and The Miz. These are all Raw people.
I like how you said Cedric Alexander, like if it was
Cedric Alexander?
yeah, what's his name that just got drafted over to Raw? Apollo Crews.
Cedric Alexander.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of stereotypes, right? I mean,
Yeah. I told you it would be great here on Monday Night Raw. Commander Aziz. Like, come on, guys. Stop. Please.
yeah, it's kind of funny. It seems like it's more apparent. It's just more in your face with it nowadays than it was say 20 years ago with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of the whole list, there's two people I'm concerned with out of that list. We kind of saw where they were going with Dana Brooke. So we already know her fate, right?
Yeah.
I'm very concerned for Veer and Tamina. Tamina had a good thing. You finally gave her an identity. She had an identity a long time ago when she was in a relationship with Santino Marella. But then that went away. Then you tried to bring her in a what was a stable with what was it, her, Naomi, and who was the third person? I forgot who the third person
Sasha.
was. Sasha Banks. I forgot what their names were.
Team Bad.
Team Bad, yes.
With two D's.
That didn't work.
No.
Then you had her as like a bodyguard type. That didn't work. So you finally put her into something where the fans were getting behind them, and now you're taking that away from her.
Yeah.
Then you have Veer, who I have no idea why he's over here like this. Um, he's a good solid in ring worker, but his look, his gimmick is just completely bad. He's gonna get lost in the shuffle. I wouldn't be surprised if he's somebody's heavy or manager or something. I don't know. But I'm very concerned for him being thrown to Raw, and unless they have some brand new big gimmick that nobody knows about. What are your thoughts? Do you have any thoughts about those before we go to the final bit?
Um. So with Veer, they're not packaging him together with the other guy.
No, no.
What's his
He's
name?
just by
Shanky.
himself. He's not with Shanky. He's not with Gender. He's just by himself.
Oh yeah, no. Well, they packaged Shanky with gender.
Yes, they did, which we'll get to. But
Why?
yes, they did. I understand why they did that with Shanky because he's like 7 foot something, so he looks more like the heavy manager type, like the almost. I cannot say that guy's name for the life of me. Um, so I can get that, but Veer is just I have no idea why they did that. They just maybe there's something in there that we don't know about that he has really I don't know, but I don't know why they did that. I'm very disappointed in that.
I'm just
Um,
confused by the overall thing of where what they're doing with all three of these guys.
yeah, especially when you brought back Jinder Mahal. So the last little bit, these were just SmackDown because all those were Raw people.
Yeah.
So these are SmackDown, and it's a short list: Jinder Mahal and Shanky, Natalia and Shotzi. That's it.
You know, you're gonna split up Tegan Knox and Shotzi. I would have switched it. I would have put Shotzi on Raw and kept Tegan over on SmackDown because Raw seems like a cooler show to have the Tank come out than SmackDown.
Yes, SmackDown is a little bit more serious than Raw.
Yeah.
Um, I think because they're on Fox, and Fox is big on sports presentations, so I think that's why. But I never understood why just randomly she was just her tag team partner in the first place when they
Yeah.
had built Ember Moon and her, and they had good chemistry.
Yeah. Amber Moon's another talent too that we can have a whole debate and conversation about. But um,
In
yeah,
terms of stereotypes.
there's a lot of things I just don't understand about the draft. And there's a lot of things I do understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand about this draft. It's a whole mixed bag of things. I think for me overall, though, I think it's a very positive draft. I think there's a lot more points that I'm like, all right, cool. This is where we're going with this than there are what?
It's definitely more balanced now because
Yeah,
Raw was really suffering. They were running out of people for Bobby Lashley to face, so that's when they called in that whole Biggie cash in thing.
yeah.
Um, so there's also free agents. I don't have that list in front of me, but this is we've ran long
I got
today.
it.
Oh,
You
you
want me
do?
to
Okay. No,
want me to
go
read them?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Read them
All right.
fast.
So free agents: Brock Lesnar,
Mm-hmm.
Asuka, Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
Elias, Eva Marie, Lacey Evans, Lucha House Party, which is Grand Metalik and Lindsay Dorado, Maurice, for some reason, is listed on there. Shane Thorne and your favorite, Titus O'Neil. Someone's going to die. You guys out there, Sean was like a big proponent on this whole Titus O'Neil kind of being a meme, funny comedy guy way before the world got to see it.
It was before the greatest Royal Rumble. He was the
Yeah,
biggest comedy act to me in the WWE.
this was when NXT was still a game show.
Yeah, it's and then that's another stereotype. Like, oh, come on, guys. Anyway, anyway, Bailey, I think they're going to stick her where they feel like the women's division is going to be the weakest. I don't know where that is as of yet. Excuse me. Um, Asuka, same thing.
Yeah.
Um, I would see Asuka on Raw before SmackDown. I see Bailey on SmackDown before Raw.
Mm.
Um, Elias, they were doing those vignettes and then they just stopped.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do or where he's going to go. But I know that they said that they wanted to change his gimmick so he was winning championships. He can go. He has a great look. Just that gimmick held him back. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. But it should be interesting. It's good to have some free agents.
Yeah.
I know John Cena is a free agent technically as well too.
If
So
you throw John Cena on this list, just this list of free agents alone is like a list I would love to build a wrestling company around.
yeah, yeah, with Lesnar, Cena, Bailey, Asuka.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
then,
those are my feuds for the first 3 or 4 months.
and then on a back end side of things, Titus O'Neil is an ambassador. I mean, come on. This guy is great with media appearances. He's so personable.
He's great with media appearances. Um, it's kind of like a David Otunga, which a lot of people still don't remember that he signed with the company.
Yeah.
Like they bring him out for certain
He's
events.
Jerry McDivitt's tag team partner right now.
Right, undefeated.
The Legal
Um,
Beagles.
right. So yeah, overall, it's more balanced. I know you said that you didn't have a problem with anything. There wasn't any major, groundbreaking things that shocked me. Um, it's just will be good. I like how they're saying that, after Crown Jewel that will start because they're doing a lot of building for the future.
Yeah.
They're doing like, for example, we know Roman Reigns' schedule like in September. Like, okay, it's Finn Balor, then it's Brock Lesnar, then it's Big E at Survivor Series. Like they never really did that before.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how they're setting that up and doing that. But it will be even more interesting to see what new stars come out of the draft because they're in desperate need of creating characters that are superstars that can continue with feuds and make you got a lot of TV you got to fill up every single week. It's not just about the
Yeah.
pay-per-views, not just about WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble or SummerSlam. You got a lot of TV you got to fill up. You got a lot of house shows you got to sell. So who's going to be that guy or girl that they're going to push to the moon to fill that gap? So I think that's it for today's show, guys. We covered everything about the WWE. You see, we're not just saying stuff because we hate one company or we dislike one company over the other. If something is good, then we say it's good. If something is not good, then we say it is not good. That is the reality that we live in. We have opinions, and people who have opinions should not be beat up on those opinions just because they don't match yours.
Exactly.
So, before you go, is there anything that you would like to plug?
Well, before the usual plug, to me, wrestling is like music.
Mhm.
If a good beat can get my paralyzed foot to thump, we're good. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. It doesn't matter what company it is, WWE, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, any of that stuff. If you get my eyes glued on the TV and I forget everything around me, then you did a good piece of business, and I applaud you. That doesn't mean that there's no faults. We like to point out faults, but there's
Right,
nothing wrong with that as long as we do it respectfully and
right,
constructively.
right,
Then we're not blindly coming out here saying something sucks and then that's it. We move on. We give a reason and explanation why. I'm an open book when it comes to that kind of stuff too. A lot of people like to fight. That's fine. If you want to fight, then I don't see any reason why I need to conduct any further business with somebody on that. But if you want to discuss, if you want to have a discourse about it, then I'll take a whole different approach. We could talk all day until we're both blue in the face, as long as it's done very civil and respectfully. And I think that's what separates the men from the boys as far as fandom in everything, sports, entertainment, music, all that kind of stuff goes.
Right, because nobody want no real problem. Nobody want no real problem
Yeah,
in terms of fight and stuff like that. A lot of y'all never been in a fight. And I'm not dissing you, I'm just being honest. A
yeah,
lot of y'all never been in a fight. So I don't think that you want to start fighting with some random guy that you met online as your first fight ever in the real world. Um, we're not about that. This is not what the Sean Show is about. So please comment below, say whatever you want to say. Just do it respectfully, as I always say. You
yeah.
disagree with me, many have, many will, but I answer everything. And I do it in a respectful manner. So, as I was saying, and that's very, very poignant what you just said that needed to be said, because it's kind of getting out of hand right now in
Yeah.
in wrestling. Period. It's never been like this before in
As
wrestling.
I get as I get older, there's one thing that I've learned. If you're not going to lose any sleep over it, it's not worth wasting time on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, if you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're willing to fight for this in real life on the street, something like that, then don't do it. Don't do it. So.
Yep.
So there you go. But anyway, anything that you would like to plug?
Ringscoops.com. That's my wrestling blog. The central point of anything with me involving with wrestling, ringscoops.com. Is any Disney fans out there have a Disney focused Instagram? Instagram.com/magic key on wheels. I was just at Disneyland yesterday. Got a whole crop of new photos up, some reviews of some new Halloween themed treats and different
Look very good.
attractions and whatnot. Try to get on Jungle Cruise, but I guess the last couple of days the wheelchair boats have been broken, so I couldn't do Jungle Cruise. But next time I go, hopefully it'll be fixed. I can have a perspective from what it's like to ride Jungle Cruise in a wheelchair. If anybody's out there is wondering, if you guys want to go to Disneyland and you're like, I don't know what I can do in a wheelchair, what can I do? I'm here to show you guys that the magic journey through these parks from the eyes of a disabled person. So that's pretty much it. Those are my two big plugs. And Sean, thank you so much again for having me on the show, man.
Thank you for coming. It's been a great discussion today, and we want you guys to comment down below and discuss as well. Also, I've said that multiple times because I want to hear from you guys. I love to hear from you guys. So, what did you think about the draft? What did you think about the moves? What did you think about NXT? Give me your thoughts, and you will hear from me, and you might even hear from Webmaster. Never know.
One time for your mind.
And thank you guys, and we will see you here next time on The Sean Show. Peace.